Oh man.
Oh, you see, Kirk Douglas died.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I heard about that. Not that I've seen him or we're close or anything, but yeah, all these
Hundred and
actors are
fucking
dying.
three.
I suppose I don't think there's much to be sad about. I mean, that's I think so many people can only hope to reach that age.
Oh yeah, you're rich and famous, and you live to 103.
Yeah, I know. I know, right? Like, I think we've heard stories of like these
And
much poorer people.
your daughter-in-law, Catherine Zeta-Jones, comes and sits on your lap when you're 100.
Wait, is that? I didn't know that was happening. I didn't know that was a thing.
they've had pictures of Catherine Zeta-Jones all cozied up with old Kirk.
Ooh, that's great.
But yeah, there's Michael Douglas, so she likes the old dudes.
Here a Douglas, there a Douglas,
yeah.
Everywhere a Douglas. Isn't there like there's like old Asians over in was it Okinawa, Japan, that reached like 120 or something? So
some good genetics over there.
Yeah, they're not rich. So
no.
Maybe I think I'm pretty happy with most of the ones that are on the list.
I think they did this is probably the best job I've seen them do in a long time. So
I usually don't. I don't even get to see like most of the movies that are on the list. Like I've been really more on top of movies than usual for to be ready for the Oscars, but I miss out on a lot of them.
Yeah, I've seen every Best Picture nom except for 1917 Ford vs Ferrari.
Oh yeah, I still missed out.
Jojo Rabbit and Little Women.
Oh, you didn't see Jojo yet? Still?
I just downloaded it today. It just came out digitally today. So I found
but you got it legally today.
Yeah. Maybe.
You are listening to Coast to Coast Film Reviews with Raj and David. Let's talk movies.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coast Film Reviews. I'm your host Raj, and let me introduce my podcast partner here. He's known worldwide as the inventor of the jalapeno suppository. It's David.
Ooh, I'm hot.
Yeah, hot.
Shit and fire.
Spicy meatball in your butt.
Gives a whole new meaning to jalapeno popper.
Jalapeno pooper.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity, David.
Oh, man.
All right, so let's get into our list today. Today, our top 10 list is going to be our favorite top 10 Oscar nominees for Best Picture. So this is all obviously themed because the Oscars are coming on this coming Sunday. So we do have a special segment 2 as well, based on the Oscars. You'll have to check out segment 2 to find out what that's going to be. We're not going to spoil it just yet, but let's get into our list. So to start off our top 10 favorite Best Picture nominees, I guess I should start off with this one since recently I have been doing the whole series of them, but Star Wars, I didn't know that was even a nominee. Like I don't know how many like superhero like action movies like that were nominated for Best Picture in the past. I mean, I did look, but I was surprised. I didn't know this was one. Obviously, it was when did this come out? 1980?
78?
1978's Oscar
for the original?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like some of the graphics and stuff for its time, they were all really original. And Lucas was, starting out. He said he didn't even know that it was a big hit. He was like on vacation somewhere, and he got a call on the phone saying like, "Whoa, this is blowing up," sort of thing. So that's really that was really surprising because today now we think of Star Wars like, wow, just like iconic. Like when you think of a space adventure, and it didn't win. What didn't win that? We should do that too. What did win that year?
It lost to Annie Hall.
Yes, Annie Hall. Yes, I did read that. Yeah, so I was surprised I mean, it did get a nomination at least. I was surprised to even know that they got a nomination, but yay, Star Wars. Good job.
It was
Good
really
job, Lucas.
groundbreaking at its time, during its time too.
Mm.
So
Yeah. There was a ripoff. I heard about on a YouTube video called Star Crash. If anyone wants to look that up, Star Wars and Star Crash. Oh god, this guy does this funny comparison. It came out 1 year after Star Wars, and that director publicly proclaimed that, oh no, he's had this in production and the idea before Star Wars even came out. So many things that were just completely scene for scene and just the characters. It's ridiculous. It's so funny.
And they even add to that, George Lucas was nominated for Best Director. And Alex Guinness, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi, was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, good.
It must have been a shit year in acting.
I remember, I pegged it because in my review for the first one, I was like, oh, I really liked Obi-Wan, so that explains it. See, he got supporting actor that year. It was easy to tell.
Yeah, it was easy.
So easy. Go ahead with your number 5.
Well, mine was a nominee from 1993, which lost to The Sting, which is, I think I saw The Sting forever ago, and I don't remember it much. But this is The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin. Easily one of my favorite horror films ever. One of the very few horror films that's ever been nominated for an Oscar. Silence of the Lambs, that's kind of iffy. Some people consider that horror, some don't. That won an Oscar. But The Exorcist is, to me, one of the scariest movies ever made. Everything about this film is spot on. The direction is great. The special effects were so ahead of their time. But yeah, I mean, everybody's seen The Exorcist. So, this was a pretty hard list to make because there are so many great films that have been nominated.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the Oscars. I feel that they get it wrong most of the time, but they still nominate some good films. And the fact that The Exorcist, this movie pissed people off. This was a controversial movie back in 1973 America. And the fact that the Oscars still nominated when you had the Christian coalitions and the Catholics up in arms about it, it showed that they had a little balls to put this on their show. So, yeah, I mean, everybody's seen The Exorcist, so I don't have to recommend it, but it's just one of those great all-time horror films.
Yeah. I think I've only seen it once, but I was surprised because it's the movie from the 70s. So I was like, how outlandish could it be, or how scary could it be? I was surprised by the swearing. I mean, just the language alone. I was like, whoa, what the hell?
Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
I'm pretty sure I laughed when I heard it. I was like, what the hell? And did the girl really say this stuff? Did they ever say, or was it a voiceover by an adult person?
It was a voiceover.
Oh, okay. Because I love when they make kids say this stuff in younger movies. Like, oh yeah, he really said it, and it's not off screen or something. That's always fun to watch. Like the kid in is it Meet the Fockers, when he accidentally teaches the little baby to say asshole.
Oh yeah.
And it's obviously asshole. And it's obviously a CG kind of face or whatever. That's garbage. But yeah, I love when they make little kids swear. Because they do.
You did it at home all the time, right?
Me, no, never in front of my parents. My parents never heard about that stuff. But now I guess if they ever
now you teach your little ones, just say, go around cussing up a storm.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's where are we at? We are at my number 4, and that is going to be maybe I should get any lamer ones out that you guys are not going to like. I'm going to say Inception. I really liked Inception. Yeah, listen, hey, stop. It's my time. This is my time. My time to shine. Inception. It's a DiCaprio movie. Okay, so he's beloved by the Oscar community. Not really, but I loved him in this movie. I really liked this movie. It was pretty solid. I don't know why they didn't win, because something else beat it out, something more artistic. But everyone has their gripes about this movie, and some people didn't like the ending. Did it or didn't happen? What's going on and stuff like that. But I thought it was really creative. Again, Christopher Nolan. He's got a lot of little gems. I like his stuff. And Ellen Page, probably replaceable. But what's his name? JGL, old Joseph Gordon-Levitt here, and he plays this pretty this nice little vest-wearing guy, and they're all pretty good characters in there. Oh, your boy Tom Hardy's in there.
I love Tom Hardy.
Yeah, see, so you love this movie. You agree with my pick?
That's what that usually means.
If Tom Hardy's in it, you have to love it. But yeah, I like the twists and turns, and yeah, you could always pick apart and say, oh, well, that doesn't make sense, blah, blah, whatever. It's a movie. Get over it. Like, it's not supposed to, be like, you're not supposed to try and fabricate the kind of technology in these movies in real life. Like, just get over yourself. Like, oh, you can't go inside a dream. Just, shut up. Like, it's a movie. So it was a lot of fun to watch. I liked it a lot. I've seen it more than a couple times, and like the emotion behind it. And what DiCaprio goes through with his wife and stuff, like it felt real. Like, I really liked that whole relationship between him and his wife, and how that like intervened with the story. I liked it a lot.
I think it's his second worst film.
Oh God.
I like Christopher Nolan. I love Memento. That is one of my all-time favorites.
Whose second worst film? Nolan's second worst film? Or
Nolan's second worst. Dunkirk, I think, is his worst.
Yeah,
I think it's technically brilliant. I think it's technically brilliant, but the story I just found boring.
The camera shots and stuff, they were really good. I like the camera work.
It was a beautiful film to look at, but I just didn't. The story didn't grab me. It goes into
one depressing thing after another, and it's like, oh my God, when is it going to end?
And I've seen enough World War II movies. It's just Inception, and then Inception would be my second worst.
Do you have a third?
I don't know, but I love Memento. I love Insomnia. I love the Batman trilogy. I love the Prestige. Interstellar probably third worst, because I felt that it was. I like technically what they did, but I felt the philosophy was like so like ninth grade. It tried to make it seem like it was so deep, and it was like I was thinking shit like that when I was at 13.
Oh, well, you should have wrote it into a script then.
No, I'm just talking about the depth of the philosophy. And it's like Matrix, when everybody thought they were a philosopher because they saw Matrix. It was like, come on, get the fuck out of here. Like,
we're all in the Matrix, man.
Yeah, get out of here, bro, dude. No, it's not that deep.
It's something Tommy Chong should have thought up and wrote about before.
Yeah. But yeah, Insomnia, I'm sorry, Inception, I like it technically. It's just, it was like he was just trying to confuse you on purpose. and I don't mind confusion in a movie. I sometimes I feed off that, but it just seemed like, is he just being an asshole? Is Christopher Nolan just being an asshole to us and fucking with us all? Which sometimes I like that too. I just didn't like how he did it here.
Did you see that there was a South Park episode based on Inception or something, where they went into each other's? They were making fun of the Nolan movie, obviously, but yeah, it's all right. It's funny. They send in firefighters to help the guy. They have like 15 people inside of like different people's dreams.
Oh, I think I did see that. Yeah,
it's the hoarding episode when they're trying to help Stan with his hoarding.
All right, well, let me go to my number 4. And this was another loser. But it lost to a film I love too. It lost to No Country for Old Men. Oh, really? This is 2007's There Will Be Blood, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. It has the greatest actor who ever lived in it, Daniel Day-Lewis, who won his his second Oscar for lead. I think his third. He's the only man ever to win 3 Best Acting Oscars, and he won his third with Lincoln. But this is a story of an oil tycoon starting from basically nothing, just starting his business and becoming just one of the richest mans on the planet. It's co-starring Paul Dano, who I really enjoyed. And it has one of the greatest directors living, the greatest actor living. Paul Dano, I think, is one of the best character actors, and it's just a great story. I think it's better than No Country for Old Men, but I love that film too, so I'm not really mad that it lost to that. But yeah, There Will Be Blood is just an absolute classic film. All these films on my list are all 10s. These are all 10s to me.
Whoa.
Every single one of them. And I think I even have a few 10s that made my long list.
And you're welcome, by the way, because I was going to say that one, but I was like, you know what? I know David loves that movie, and it's DDL, so I was like, I'll let him have it. So that was it. That I just handed it to you, everybody. You said all of yours are 10s? All of the picks for your...
My top 5 are all films that I would consider 10s.
Jeez, I didn't realize. No, none of mine. Well, none. Maybe one. Maybe one is a 9. I think I'd give Inception maybe an 8. I really like that movie. Anyway, going on to my number 3. All right, my number 3. I'm gonna say Life of Pi is on my list. I really like that movie. I mean, not just to be biased because there were Indian people in there, but I got to support my peeps, and I did see it in theater. From what I remember, I'm trying to think back. I'm pretty sure I saw it in theater, but it was one of those movies that I'm not sure how big of a TV you need to really get sort of the same kind of visual appreciation for it, but it was just beautiful, like the color and stuff. There's some scenes where he's I think it's the jellyfish or something when he lands on an island.
Oh yeah.
You remember those scenes? Like,
yeah.
Whoa, just like the whole screen was just lit up, and I remember seeing that and I was like, wow, it was so beautiful, just the visuals and obviously the tiger and everything. I liked the CG. I didn't think the CG was so bad. It wasn't too obvious. I liked the way the tiger looked, and the story was very unique, and I really appreciated it. And then all of the ways that you can kind of twist and figure out the plot for yourself in the end. It's kind of a twist in itself because you can obviously take it at face value and say that, yeah, he's telling the truth, or did something else happen? And I looked up a lot of like theories, fan theories, and other stuff based on that too, and that was a lot of fun to read up. I love movies like that where either they don't give you an ending that satisfies you, and you can like there's all these like huge fan base that comes up with like, oh well, this is what I think, and they have these huge like very highly developed ideas like, well, if you remember this scene, he mentions he has a sister in Stockholm, so that's where this comes. Like, whoa, what? Like, I don't even remember that. Or they give you an ending, but then like one or two people somewhere in the audience will be like, no, that doesn't add up, and then there'll be a whole like fan base of people like, no, this is what really happened, he lied, and at this point he died, or like like somewhere in the story he so it's really, it was a very creative movie, one of those movies that you can kind of think your way around and like you can really explore, and maybe even more than one or two viewings and you wouldn't be bored by it.
Yeah, it's a visually breathtaking film.
Yeah.
Just the visuals of the film, and it is a great story. That was on one of my longer lists. I think it's absolute great film. I haven't watched it in a while. After looking at nominations, that was one that I kind of checkmarked that I have to revisit. I haven't seen it in so long. Yeah, but Ang Lee knocked it out of the park on that film.
Mm.
Well, let me go to my number 3. This is 1971's A Clockwork Orange, directed by my homeboy Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, boys.
Possibly the greatest director to ever direct anything. But this film is about a gang that's in a dystopian future type climate, based off Anthony Burgess's book, which is also a great book. But it's about Alex, who gets caught for his crimes and then has to go through almost a torturous rehabilitation where his eyes are peeled open with this contraption. He's made to watch disgusting violence over and over again to kind of make him get sick anytime violence happens or he hears, he feels violent. But this is just a visually striking film. One thing I love about Stanley Kubrick is none of his films are similar. You can find little things, little signatures of Stanley, but none of his films, if somebody didn't know who Stanley Kubrick was and you didn't tell them who directed it, it would be hard for them to say this is a Stanley Kubrick film, and that's what made him so great. This is probably my second favorite Kubrick film. I love The Shining, but A Clockwork Orange, they battle back and forth. It depends on how I feel, but it's a cult classic. It was just a classic generally, and the fact that this even got nominated for an Oscar, and for how dark this film is amazing, because films like this hardly ever get nominated. It did lose out to The French Connection, but I think A Clockwork Orange is such more of a pop culture icon than The French Connection, which is a good film. But people still talk about A Clockwork Orange. I don't hear people talk about The French Connection.
There's a French Connection with that one guy that always plays the French cop. He's always a Pierre.
Yeah.
And so,
was it Gene Hackman in that one too?
I don't remember Gene. I think because I've seen him on the cover, and I was like, oh, it's Pierre. It's like he always Detective Pierre. Oh, maybe he was Pierre in Da Vinci Code. That's where I remember him last. Isn't he a cop in there?
I haven't seen The French Connection in so long.
Typecast, that guy.
Typecast.
So
I have a theme of the 70s. I love the 70s.
I remember Clockwork. I saw it the first time I tried to watch it. I didn't realize how graphic it was going to be. And there was that sexual assault scene. And I was like, oh, okay. And I turned it off and I was like, all right. And I had to I read some non-spoiler reviews about it to kind of get the gist of what it was going to be about. And I was like, all right. Because one of my friends was like, you got to see it. You got to see it. And he was a little bit of a screw loose kind of guy, kind of like yourself. But he was, but I'm not friends with him. So he went, he continued to loosen more screws in his life. But he recommended that movie. And so he was really pushing me to see it. So I saw it and I was like, oh, okay. It was much better and kind of it was about much more than just those exploits and stuff of that character. So I'm glad I saw it through. Yeah, that's definitely a memorable film of mine. Probably that might be my favorite Kubrick film so far. I know I haven't seen all of them.
There's not many of them.
Yeah,
yeah. You can jump on that. You can knock that out in a weekend.
Maybe we'll do a Kubrick segment.
Yeah.
Since there aren't something. Yeah, you can just relieve yourself during the whole segment, just all over the place.
Well, you already don't like The Shining. Have you seen Full Metal Jacket?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, it's such a great film.
Yeah, I've heard. I tried to record it when it came on TV, but I was late, and I was like, I don't want to start it. I was a half hour late to it.
2001, obviously, and then Eyes Wide Shut, I think, is a classic as well. A lot of people don't like that film, but I love that.
Is that his newest one? His Eyes Wide Shut?
I think he died before that was released.
Oh,
and that was his final film, yeah.
Well, that's good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to keep up. There are too many more. Sorry,
well, there's more than that. It might have 10 films.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll get a list from you of the top, like we're the most. We'll do like if there's 10, then we'll do like the top 5 or something.
I have this box set. I don't have a region-free Blu-ray player.
Okay.
And I accidentally bought this box set. I think it has maybe 8 of his films. Now, I have some of these on Blu-ray already, but I was like, this is a cool box set. And it's a European box set, so I can't watch any of them.
I mean, wait, are you not? But do you honestly want to watch them? Because there might be collectibles, right?
I think I thought it was cool, and it was a lot. There's an American box set that was out of print. So that one was like really expensive. Like, oh, this one's like $40. It's a great fucking deal. And I bought it without actually looking at what region it was.
If you bought a player, I think there's a way to like do a one-time region change or something on it. And then you can just obviously have that for that. And then I don't know, return the DVD player.
Well, I've been thinking about just getting a 4K region free player, so I'll be able to watch it eventually.
You mentioned a 4K. You bought the Alien 4K or something, right? Do you have a 4K TV?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I think you did tell me if you asked me if I saw it in 4K, and you were like, the Nostromo looks so awesome and badass on it.
Yeah, I bought a 4K TV when they were still way too expensive.
Went back when 3K was the big deal.
Yeah, when people were still doing their little 2K shit.
You were all about the 4K.
Yeah, I was an early 4K adopter. Not when it was like $5,000, but not too long after that.
Well, get ready for 10Ks coming out this year.
Well, they got 8K.
Oh, that's right, 8K.
Yeah.
For my number 2, I'm going to go with The Revenant, also starring my boy DiCaprio. This movie was, I still remember the depressing parts of this movie. Most people know this as the movie with the bear attack.
Yeah, that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that bear, freaking menacing and just like insane, dude. That whole scene, and I think I've seen the behind the scenes.
How fucking long is that scene too? I'm like, when are they going to end?
Uncomfortable in terms of like watching the damage, not uncomfortable as like get over it already, like get on with it. But it's like, oh, it's so brutal, and just I mean the fact it's not a spoiler, but he survives that attack, and how they get to that point and his life, and then following this attack. The slope he travels, it is just wow. The movie is so good, and like I'm not sure like I'm sure there's someone else who could have done as well as DiCaprio, and I don't normally do this for movies that I like. I don't say that he's easily replaceable, but DiCaprio has something special when he does his acting, and I don't know if it's his eyes or like I try to find out like what about this actor do I like in terms of their acting. And I really want to say, like, it's something with DiCaprio's eyes when he delivers stuff. There's some kind of micro expression around his eyes when he does something that makes me like, oh yeah, like really love his scenes. And I'm gonna watch Shutter Island again soon to see if it's that. Like, I want to watch like a string of his movies to just see like, is there something about that charm in his face that what is it? But this movie is just beyond that brutal scene. It is just sad, and it is for the most part. Dare I reveal that it's a revenge movie? Is that going too far? It doesn't really reveal.
I don't think that's probably in the first line of Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
I would think, yeah. Calling it a revenge film, I don't think is a real giveaway.
I don't know if anyone is as anal about not watching trailers as much as I am, but I'm sure they say something along those lines in the trailer too. But it's yeah, oh man, is it sad. And there's not much dialogue. That's another thing, especially probably immediately following the attack. Like when we start following DiCaprio, there's very little dialogue in those scenes. And I mean, for the most part, he's alone. That's probably, a given. Who the hell he's going to talk to? But even following that, like the dialogue is very small, and what comes out are like just very crucial, like how you follow through with the character's development from there on. And it's just really, what's the word? Poignant? Poignant? It's very, very special anyway. Every scene after that. I'm not going to try and use big words that I'm not sure the meaning of, but it's, they did it really well. I really like this movie. And yeah, if you can stomach that attack, holy cow. Oh, man, it's so good. The CG is there's no real bear, by the way. A real bear was never on scene. It's a fake CG bear, but it looks really real. Like, and then
they did really well with it.
Watch the behind the scenes of how they did that. Oh God, like the machine work and the pulling them around and stuff. Like, man, the guy should have like pulled so many like shit out of his sockets and stuff. The way they moved him around. But yeah, it's good. That's my 2.
Well, my number 2, and it's easily in the top 10 film for me ever.
Ever.
And this is 1976 Taxi Driver.
Oh.
Directed by my man Martin Scorsese, which I think he might have had like 3 films on my long list. This is another one that lost. It lost to fucking Rocky. Fucking Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, there was another one that year that I knew was yours, and I didn't pick it because I thought you were going to. Oh no, there's another movie that you love. Was it Raging Bull? No. Did that come out that year? No, it couldn't have been because that was also De Niro, right?
Yeah, Raging Bull was a couple years after.
Because I saw a list and I was like, oh no, that one's... And it lost out to Rocky, and I was like, gross. It lost to Rocky. That fucking ending. I can't stand that ending still.
It did receive... It received a Palme d'Or, which to me is much more important anyway. But it's a story starring Robert De Niro about a taxi driver, and he is just a loner, and he has some mental issues, and he wants to clean the streets of New York City of all the garbage. And if you've never seen this film...
I haven't seen it.
Oh, Jesus, man. You have to watch this tomorrow, then.
Well, we have to... I was going to make a suggestion, like, for the you watch, me watch, we watched segment, you could suggest to me your 10s, and I suggest you some 10s that are in my list, and then we'd cycle that bullshit around.
Yeah, this is... It's an amazing film. And I would think if you asked 10 big-time critics, I bet you 8 of them have it in their top 10 films. So it's also just a critically acclaimed film. But it's just so amazing. Martin Scorsese's his best film, in my opinion. And he has great films. Scorsese has a laundry list of great films. But yeah, this easily a 10 for me. And I've probably seen it 20 times.
It's one that you've brought up a billion times, and
I want you to watch this and then see how the Joker is influenced by this film. I said the Joker, and just see.
Yeah,
if you like Joker, if you strip away the DC comics, and if you liked how that character was played out, you will like Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, when I saw Joker, very little was like reminiscent of DC. You know, they didn't really throw Batman in your face. They didn't really throw the word Gotham. Wayne came up only a number of times, but otherwise, like, yeah, it was really its own standalone, non-really DC related. But yeah, so I'd like to see Taxi Driver and see what you mean, because you brought that point up a lot, that it's like a stripped down Taxi Driver.
Yeah, check it out. It's probably definitely one we have to talk about further on the show. I really want you to see that one.
Okay. All right, so that brings me to my number 1. Okay, a movie from 2016 starring Denzel Washington, Fences.
I've never even seen that, no.
This was my I really want to say a 9, but I've only seen it. I think I've only seen it 2 times, but it's so real. It's about, oh gosh, it's about this. I was trying to think what decade did they grow up in, but the movie takes place. It's about this black family, and Denzel is the patriarch of this family, and there's his wife. I don't know. Yeah, it's his wife. He lives with his wife and his son, and they just show the different relationships between him and his wife, and him and his son, and him and his friends and his neighbors, and what he goes through. He's a garbage man, and he's just proud of his life and what he's accomplished, and it's just really normal stuff that they go through. But man, is that some like Denzel? Like I don't know if there's a Denzel movie I don't like. I've said this about a lot of actors, but it's so hard hitting his acting, and just really feel it. And oh god, there's a couple of scenes I remember. There's one where he's talking to his son, and oh god, like this is when movies are really good. I hate talking too much about them, but you got to see this one, and maybe this will be in our for a segment. I'll recommend it to you. But it's Viola Davis that's her name, right? Viola Davis.
You would know better to me.
Yeah, Viola Davis, and the kid is from Jovan Adepo. He's the one from Overlord. You saw that one. You didn't like it so much.
Yeah, I didn't like it so much.
But he's in that. He plays the son, Denzel's son, and it's really hard hitting, and it's very real. It's hard to explain it beyond that. Like I think it was a Broadway. It was initially on Broadway, and then they made it into a movie, right?
Yeah, it was a play.
Yeah. It's a good movie all around. Like,
and
wow.
He did the play on Broadway, Denzel, I believe.
Was he? I feel like in one of the interviews I watched, like they're like, yeah, they approached him to do that.
If I remember correctly, yeah, he was part of the play as well.
Yeah, but
didn't he direct Fences too? Produced and directed by Denzel Washington.
There you go. I have it produced by someone else as well, Todd Black and Scott Rudin.
Well, they probably have multiple producers, but in the top line,
yeah, directed by Denzel. Yeah. No, this is definitely a must watch. You got to see this. Like, just Denzel, it just blows up, man. Like, like towards the end, like I remember I had tears in my eyes. Like it was pretty good. I loved it.
Yeah, it's hard to believe in your list you don't have one single 10 out of all the nominations.
One of
I just want to do some honorable mentions. I'm just gonna shout them out. To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah. I think it's just an amazing film. One of my favorite books growing up, so I love the film. Atticus Finch is one of my biggest heroes ever in any type of fiction. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I like that one. Oh, I didn't see that in the list that I was looking for. That's a good one.
Of course, other Scorsese's Goodfellas and Raging Bull. Raging Bull is probably my second favorite Scorsese, possibly. I love Goodfellas as well. But one I thought you were going to pick is Pulp Fiction.
Oh. No, I was picking more of the fun stuff that I don't think anybody else is going to even give a crap about.
Room, which came out a few years ago, is a film I really love, and that's really underseen. And Fargo. I love Fargo.
Yeah, I saw Fargo on the list, but I was like, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, that's one you need to see. But my number one, I kind of cheated a little bit here.
Oh,
because
here we go.
This is a trilogy, and all three films were nominated for Oscars, with the first two winning. It's the only film that it and its sequel both won an Oscar, and it's the only sequel that ever won an Oscar. So it's the only one on my list that actually won. And this is 1972's Godfather, and Godfather 2 74, Godfather 3's in the 80s, I believe. Godfather 3, I still think is a great film, but since it's compared to the other two, people see it as a letdown, but I still really enjoyed it. All directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Al Pacino. And I have this conversation with people a lot. I love The Godfather. It's one of my favorite books ever written. It's, believe it or not, was the highest grossing film in history at the time that it came out. It's also probably one of the most critically acclaimed films ever made. Probably this and Citizen Kane. I think all the old heads who are critics, one of those two films are going to be their top film ever made. I prefer Godfather 2. And the reason I prefer Godfather 2 is because you also have Robert De Niro, who came onto the cast, and it has just this great dueling timeline where you see Michael Corleone. In the first film, you see his rise to become the Godfather. In part 2, you get to see him as the Godfather and him growing the family business. But at the same time, you see the dueling timeline where Robert De Niro plays Vito, who was Michael's father, and him coming over to America and starting as a poor immigrant into building this multi-million-dollar criminal family. So they're just such amazing films. And I just love them. Could be a little bit of the Italian in me, but they're just Godfather 2 are always going to be in my top 10.
Big surprise. You brought those up. I saw it.
And only winners. Godfather 3 did not win, which would have been amazing if you had a whole trilogy and all three of them won Best Picture. But to have the first two films, have a sequel, I'd have to look back. It might be the only sequel ever even nominated for an Oscar.
I think I didn't see 3 because I don't recall very much about it. I think I've definitely missed out on 3. I want to do all 3. That's another good one we should do for a segment 2. I was also thinking about. Oh, shoot. You mentioned in between. Oh, Citizen Kane. We should do a Citizen Kane segment, too. I haven't seen that either.
I don't think I've seen that since I was like 18.
Oh, man. See, now adult David has to view it and compare it to what you thought you knew about it and stuff. Or have you read a ton about it since then?
It was just one of those films that everybody said was one of the greatest films of all time, and I watched it. I might have more appreciation for it now. If I'm going back to black and white 50s or earlier, Seven Samurai is going to be that film that I consider the greatest of, I guess, classic Hollywood, but it's a Japanese film.
Yeah, no, I want to see that one still, too. I was going to say, my only other honorable mention that I had was Les Miserables, starring my boy, Hugh Jackman, the man.
You're such a neophile.
Yeah, I love this list because I knew every single one was going to be like there we go, Raj.
No movies came out before Raj was born mattered.
Exactly.
Earth didn't even exist before Raj was born.
Those other movies are boring.
Yeah.
DiCaprio, Denzel.
Those fucking boomer movies.
Indians. Who else did I represent? Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, you did say Star Wars, so you got one before you're born.
Yeah, that's one.
But they're still making them, so it's still...
They're still relevant. They didn't make any sequels to Raging Bull, did they? Oh, yeah. So look who's got sequels.
Oh, yeah. I think, man, poor Scorsese never made any sequels. Yeah.
Anyway,
well, that was a fun list. Like I said, that was a difficult one to whittle down. I thought it would be a little bit easier. Then I saw that list. I'm like, oh my god, there's so many movies I loved.
Yeah, this is a really easy list for me.
Because you just looked at like 2000 and newer.
I was
like you scrolled
yeah,
1930. Let me scroll.
I was like, yeah, I've seen that movie. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, oh yeah, those 5. That's good.
I started at the 50s and newer. Once you get too much further past that, unless it's like a Universal monster movie, I'm not that interested.
Yeah, I mean, when it started to get past like beyond Star Wars, it's like I don't know, I didn't see this, and I'm like, oh, I gotta stay closer. I was like, yeah, I know these, I know these
It's like
movies.
taking a kid now who listens to hip hop and saying you have to listen to Run DMC because that's where it all started. They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like Eminem, yo, Eminem's where it's at.
So you're showing your age now, you know.
Yeah.
Eminem's
Oh, Marshall
Eminem's almost
Mathers.
50 years old now.
Shit, is he really 50?
He's got to be close. But what? He's at least 46, 47.
Slim Shady, yo. The real Slim Shady.
He's like dad bod Shady now.
His daughter Haley. Things about her.
Yeah.
Be sure to tune in next week. We're going to have our top 10 favorite directors and their masterpieces. So we're going to pick one of our favorite directors and then pick which of their films was our favorite that we consider we remember them for, they're most memorable for. So I think we already know many of David's picks, and we know who suggested this list. This portion of Coast to Coast Film Reviews is being brought to you by Ed's Unfriendly 1 Hour Film Developing. Remember our motto, if you come back 1 hour later and we haven't finished developing and printing your film, then I guess you'll just have to wait, won't you? That's Ed's Unfriendly 1 Hour Film Developing.
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah, it's Ed. See, Ed's not gonna
I was
like
being
you
unfriendly.
It's excellent.